Hello my friends, Paul here in the RoJoBe Music Workshop, and welcome to my next mini project, replacing a bridge on an acoustic guitar. So let me start by giving you the quick backstory of this guitar. So this actually featured in a previous video series. This is the Adaltis. The brand Adaltis, one second, ALS41C, if that means anything to anybody. So this is the guitar that I had for sale in my shop, and the bridge broke on it, literally split clean in half, well not clean but split in half, across this way through the bridge pin holes. It just cracked completely in half. Now, my theory as to why that happened, I think I mentioned it in that video series. The temperature and humidity fluctuations in my shop probably caused that bridge to dry out and therefore shrink. Now, when wood shrinks, especially, I mean, it's, you know, compared to some things, it's a particularly thin piece of wood. When it shrinks, it will crack. So that's my theory as to why that happened. Now, I did the repair on it, and it was practically invisible. The repair, you just couldn't see it unless you looked really closely or you already knew it was there. So, I put it back for sale up in the shop and subsequently sold it. I'd completely forgotten about the bridge altogether, but I'd sold the guitar. I should, you know, if I'd have remembered, I would have told the customer it's had a repair, you know, showed him what I'd done, but I completely forgot when I sold this guitar. I wasn't covering anything up, I literally forgot it was this one that I'd repaired. So, I think it was later that day, because he bought it in the morning. It was either later that day or the following day. He sent me a photograph with a question, is this a crack? And the photograph he showed me was a close-up of the bridge. I'm really not sure if you're going to be able to pick this up, but certainly, you know, you can't really see it on here, but certainly through the bridge pin holes, or that area, you can see the crack has opened up again. It's still solid, it's still, you know, well attached to the body. It's not going to come apart, but if this was a second-hand guitar, that would be acceptable. But this is not a second-hand guitar, it's a brand new guitar. A customer has bought it and it is not acceptable. So I've told the customer I will replace the bridge with a brand new one completely free of charge. I mean, the work itself that I'm going to be doing, the cost of which the normal cost of which would outweigh what the customer paid for the guitar. Because everything in my shop is currently on sale half price because I'm closing it down. So, you know, he already bought this guitar at less than wholesale price, and the cost of the normal cost of the work that I'm going to do to this would even outweigh what he paid for it. But as regular viewers of mine will know, that's what I do. That's how I operate. I will go above and beyond to satisfy my customers, even if it leaves me out of pocket, because that's the way we do business in the UK, most of us anyway. So yeah, so I'm going to replace this bridge with a brand new one. Now, I didn't have any in stock this shape and style. Actually, I did have one, but it's a left-handed one, so obviously that's no good. I've got two other bridges, but they're different shape. They've got kind of a fancy upturn at each end, so they're no good. Now, because of that, I ordered some new bridges. One of them has arrived. Let me just see if I can find it. There it is. So, a new one has arrived. Okay, and it is the same style and shape and everything, but upon measuring it, across this way, it's slightly shorter, and even across this way, it's slightly shorter, so that's no good. because obviously I need the new bridge to cover the footprint of the existing one. And because that's slightly too short that way and that way, it ain't gonna do. I've got 2 more bridges on order. They haven't arrived yet, but I need to get this bridge off so that, you know, when they do arrive, boom, I can just stick one straight on. Now hopefully, one of those other 2 bridges that I've got on order will be the exact same size and dimensions as this one, or even slightly bigger. If not, if they all end up a little bit smaller, I do have a plan to overcome that little issue. So, the other thing that the customer said to me is that the action is too high. And looking at it, and I have measured the action here at the 12th fret, and it is a bit too high. But I've also noticed it's a little bit high at the 1st fret as well, the nut really. So I'm going to need to adjust that as well, but obviously that's at a much later stage. So I said to the customer, as soon as we noticed this problem, I said, bring the guitar back to me, I'll take a look, and I'll do whatever's necessary to put it right. The guitar's been with me for about a week now, but I'm still waiting for these new bridges, and the customer has said it's okay, whatever time it takes, that's fine. So that's good. I'm under no pressure time-wise. So I've got to replace the bridge and also lower the action, but obviously that's going to be much later. So when I said to him about this, when he told me about this problem, I said, right, don't touch it, don't play it, don't do anything, bring it back to me. I said, if you start playing it and it pings, there's nothing I can do for you, because it's obviously it needs to be fixed. However, like I said, once I'd done this repair and replaced the bridge, and yeah, okay, the crack has opened up again, but it's still 100% stable and solid and strong. This is as strong, if not stronger, than the original factory build. Probably stronger, because I removed the finish properly all the way around, glued it to the wood rather than to the finish. And the repair itself is strong, but it's a brand new guitar, and having a crack in the bridge is not acceptable, so I'm changing it. So when I said don't play it, don't touch it, he said no, it's okay, I'll loosen all the strings and I'll bring it straight back to you, which he did a day or 2 later. So at the moment, the strings are all loosened off. Now I'm not worried about that bridge breaking. So I'm going to put the strings back up to tension so that I can measure the action properly. So just get a scrap of paper and a pencil. Let's see. One of my many pencils. I did have one here, but of course I can't find it. So I'm going to take lots of measurements on this guitar before I take it apart, and also afterwards. So let me just turn the camera around and very carefully go down, and I will zoom in a little bit. That bit. Okay, so I'm going to just take all the strings back up to the normal tension. As I said, I'm not worried at all about that bridge breaking. It won't, but I want to get the strings up to correct tension so that I can measure the action accurately. So I'll just put my tuner on and to guitar. So when I tune this back up, I'm going to start with the inner 2 strings, then the next 2, then the outer 2, just to make sure the tension is even. Okay, so let me just get it tuned up. it doesn't have to be accurately in tune, just, you know, up to close to correct tension. Right, that's close enough to measure the sorry, not the intonation, the action. So I'm going to write on my piece of paper the strings. Okay, so E, A, D, G, B, and E. So they should be around 1.5 to 2 mil ish. 1.5 is very low actually. 1.5 is 60 thou, so that's very low actually. So, you know, 175 to 2 mil. So let's start with the big E string, and we've got, oh yeah, that is high. I'm going to say 2.25. Okay, and the A string, oh my god, that's even higher, 2.5. Well, that is high action. 2.5. D, yeah, same, 2.5. G is, let's call that 225. B, bloody hell. Yeah, about 2.5. And the E. Good grief. About 2.25 again. Okay, so the 6 strings are between 2.25 and 2.5 mil high. So, you know, it should be a maximum of about 2, really. It doesn't sound a lot, you know, a quarter to a half a millimetre doesn't sound a lot, but it does make quite a big difference. And as I said, the action at the first fret is also ridiculously high. I mean, probably, let me just have a quick look at one of them. Oops. The low E string. You can't really measure it with this, but I would say between 0.75 of a millimetre and 1 millimetre, which is way too high for the first fret. So I'll need to adjust the nut as well. That's going to be, you know, towards the end. Okay, so I've got my measurements of the string action. You know, it needs to be really, so there's 2.25 to 2.5. I'm going to be aiming for somewhere around 1.75 to 2 millimeters when it's done. 2 mil is 80 thou. So 1.5 is 60, so 1.75 would be about 70 thou. Well, that's really low. So, you know, I'm looking at the ballpark of around 2 millimeters or 80 thou. Slight variation from one side to the other. So, but like I said, that's at a much later stage. So, what I need to do now is slacken all the strings off. So, slacken all the strings off, first of all. Okay, a bit more than that. Right, that's better. Okay, now I need a capo. Which I will put at the top end across basically at the first fret, just to hold all the strings in place. And now I need a bridge pin puller, take all the pins out. Didn't get that organised, but there we go. And my little block, and I'll put all the pins in there. So let me just get the cloth, put that on there, put that on there, and then I can just transfer the pins straight over. Okay, so 1, 2, they're coming out easy. 3. Actually, I remember now when I redid this bridge, some of the holes were a little bit oversized, but we did get away with it. Okay, and number 6. Okay, strings out. 1, 2, 3. Still a bit tight. Ouch, just stabbed me. That one's still a bit tight. So get underneath, push that one out. There we go. Okay, so now I'll coil all the strings up to get them out of the way at the top end. Okay. Right, so got all the strings coiled up at the top now with the capo in place to keep them out of the way. So I'll take the saddle out now. Now, is that a bone or a plastic one? That's bone. Okay. Which is good. I hope to reuse that saddle. There is quite a lot of meat on it, so I've got, you know, enough meat on there that I can lower that. Let me just put that in there for now. So I've got all my pieces in there. That's not going to go anywhere. I'll put that well out of the way. Actually, before I do, I want to measure the height of this saddle at each end. So I want my calipers. Okay, and I'm going to do everything in millimeters because it's just easier for me. Okay, so at the base end, right at the end, we've got, can you see that? 6.8 mil. And at the treble end, let's see, I'll call that 6 to 6.8. So I'm going to write that on my piece of paper as well. So saddle. At the base, it's 6.8, and treble was 6. Let me just double check that. Okay, so treble 6 millimeter thereabouts, and bass showing a bit smaller now. 6.6. Okay, 6.6. Now in the middle, I'll measure in the middle as well. Not that that's really relevant. At the highest point, when we've got 7.9. Mid. 7.9. Right, so I've got those on there as well now. Saddle, bass side is 6.6, treble side is 6, and in the middle 7.9. Okay, so put that in my block out of the way. Right, so so now what I need to do is Well, I need to take some measurements of the bridge itself as well. So I need width across this way and across this way. I also need the depth of it and the depth of the saddle slot, and also the distance. Actually, let me just show you the distance from, get everything untangled, the distance from the end of the slot to there and this end of the slot to there. So I'm going to do all those measurements now. Some of them I may need to do again once the bridge is off. I can use a ruler for some of this. So let's get my piece of paper, find my pencil again. There it is. Okay. Bridge. Let's start down there. Okay, bridge. Okay, I'm going to say long, that way. Wide, that way. And depth, that way. Okay, so the length is, use a ruler for this one, is 156 millimeters. 156. Now the width at the ends doesn't matter. Well, actually I will measure that. So let's do this side. So that is 26, just make sure it's the same both ends. 26, and then in the middle, I might need to measure this again when I take it off. This is not 39. Okay, so width, I'm going to say 26 to 39. And the depth, I'm going to use my calipers for the depth. So, depth is, let's open it up a bit. Depth is 5. So I've got that accurate. 5. I'm going to call that 5.4. 5.4. And I'm going to put S for slot. Okay, so I'm going to measure the depth of the slot. And we've got at the base side 4.76. Oh, it's 475. Well, that's interesting. It's deeper. Right, let me measure. Treble side again is, call that 4 millimeters to the base. 4.75. Okay, so 4 to 4.75, and I'm going to put a B after that. So we've got length 156, width 26 at the ends, 39 in the middle, and I'll recheck that once I get the bridge off. Depth 5.4 millimeters, and the slot depth is 4 to 4.75 millimeters. So that's at the base end. Okay. But as I said, I'll recheck some of those measurements once I've got the bridge off. So the next stage now is to remove the bridge, which will be in part 2. Okay, so I've started to, take measurements and make arrangements to remove this bridge. Part 2 will be removing the bridge. So, on to the next part. Okay, so that will be part 2, removing the bridge, and hopefully by then I might have the new bridges, but I don't think so, because I'm going to do it straight after this, so probably not. Okay, so look forward to part 2, removing the bridge. In the meantime, please look after yourselves, look after each other, and we will see you soon. Peace out.